Welcome to Elevate Within podcast.
First episode.
First episode. We wanted to kick it off with talking about our hometown.
Yeah.
I'm from Pahokee. My name is Derek Bolden. I'm from Pahokee.
And I'm Marana St. Hilaire. I'm from a small little country town called Bears Lake, Florida.
Right. And let's not forget about South Bay as well.
South Bay, beautiful people from over there. Really
Right.
good folks from over there.
And these three small towns, cities, whatever you want to call them, are known as MUCK City.
MUCK City.
All right. We're located in Florida, Palm Beach County, out west in the Glaze area. Okay, so
Yeah.
and we want to talk about the state of the MUCK.
Let me ask you, why? Because this is like the opening podcast for Elevate from Within. Why? What was in your mind? Like, why are we starting with this for? Like, why you want to start with this stuff?
Because, this is the thing to talk about. It's almost like you have a lot of people who they want to do something about it. They want things to be better. A lot of people remember how great things were back home.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Right.
And really, a lot of people are disappointed in what we've become, in spite of all of the success of people who have who've come out of MUCK City.
And we've had a lot of successes.
Absolutely.
A lot of successes from out here.
So there's a lot to talk about. Wow, where do we start? Oh, so what do you love about the MUCK?
A lot. I would say the community. Our Tri-City area is one of those places a person can come, establish themselves, get a footing up under themselves, and go into great heights. I've met a lot of people whose families, because my family's originally from Haiti, and I know a lot of people from other countries, other states, just come to Belgrade, come to Pahokee, come to South Bay, and they've been able to get a footing up under them, and then be able to just literally skyrocket into wonderful things. And I think Belgrade is an incubator for that type of. The MUCK is an incubator for that type of thing. So that's what makes me love that, because it's one of the few places in a major county that you could live in and everything is in walking distance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything is in walking distance.
Yeah.
Everything you need, any type of help you need, you can get it. Whether you are, from whatever background you are, you can get that. And that's something like you can't say for most places.
Yeah.
You can't say that for most places. But you can say that for the MUCK,
Yeah. I think for me, like the people, I think the MUCK made us. It toughened us. I think the MUCK prepares you for life, man. Like, I didn't realize it because, generally, coming from the MUCK, you're made to feel like you're, inferior.
Right.
I didn't realize until I went out and, I started interacting with, people from all over the world. And I realized, man, like, I got the jump on these people, man. But I got that from Pahokee. I got that from the MUCK.
Yeah.
So,
likewise.
Hardworking.
Yeah.
Very tough, durable people.
Yeah, man.
Loving people, in spite of the things that we've heard.
Yeah.
There are a lot of loving people in Pahokee, in Belglade, and South Bay.
Yeah.
When push comes to shove, we take care of each other. I just wish that our love for one another overshadowed all of the negative stuff that happens.
But I think that negative is. I think I'm about to go into some deep waters here with this one. That negative is by design.
You think so?
Yeah. It's a way to make people not appreciate a place. Right? And the negativity, we're not the one giving the negative outlook on ourselves. Somebody else is giving that narrative of us.
Right.
And so here we are with this podcast trying to switch that narrative and try to explain that we didn't tell the story about ourselves.
Right.
Somebody else told the story about it. Told the story. Yeah. And fabricated things about, and then here's the bad part about it. Knowing some of us from there and still continuing on with the fabrication.
Yeah.
With this salacious narrative about a community of people that are hardworking, that are loving, that are caring. You know, like today I had the great honor of going to a lady's funeral that I grew up with in Belgrade. She's one of the reasons my parents came to Belgrade, right? And when we first moved to we stayed at her house, right? She babysitted me. She like babysitted me and her son. Like she treated me like family. Now, for me to believe the narrative that I'm in a place that doesn't like people, that hates people, I didn't create that narrative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why I say, I know I'm going into some deep. I think it's a created narrative about us that's not true, and I think what we're talking about today will be able to bring light to that reality.
Right.
You know
And I think there's a lot for us to be to really be proud of. And I am so excited about sharing some of the history of the MUCK, particularly Pahokee, but I know it also applies to Belgrade.
Yeah, so, for sure.
Just kind of diving into it right now. Let's talk about the history. And you're going to hear some great things. And I'm hoping that people will be able to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And by the end of this podcast, I'm hoping that people from the MUCK will be like, yeah, man, this is our history. This is where we came from. This is what makes us who we are.
Right.
And we have a lot to look forward to, because I think we have a confidence problem as well. We're going to get into that. We'll definitely, kind of touch on that or whatever. But let's talk about the history of the MUCK.
Yeah.
And right now I'm speaking about Pahokee because I know, that's where I'm from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though the areas are essentially the same, there are some, differences in terms of their stories.
That's true.
Bro, you about to hear some stuff, bro.
Tell me, man.
You ready for this? Okay.
Tell me, bro.
So Pahokee was not always called Pahokee. Pahokee was once called East Beach.
East Beach. Whoa.
East Beach.
So wait a minute. Is that pre the dike or
pre-dike?
Pre-dike. Ah.
Yeah. East Beach.
Yeah. Hey. Okay. Wait. Stop.
Yeah.
So they thought of it as a beach back in the day,
because you remember the hurricane of 1928, the flood or whatever.
Before that,
this was before that.
Before that, right.
The marina as we know it today,
was
not that way, and I have pictures of aerial views of Pahokee.
Come on,
and it's straight across,
flat.
You can actually see the water in the aerial view. There's no hill. That was after the fact, after the flood.
Hoover.
Right. All right. So it was. You'll be amazed. It was beautiful. Now after that, it was also called Ridgeway Beach. Right, beach, right? Right. And then after being called Ridgeway Beach, and remember that word Ridgeway, because you're gonna hear it again.
Okay.
And then you'll be able to connect the dots and kind of see why it was called Ridgeway Beach at one point.
Wow.
All right. And then after that, it was given the Seminole name for the Everglades, and that name is Pahokee, which means grassy waters. Right. Which is why we have the Grassy Waters Festival, I think every November, every year. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. Yeah. They don't make it a big deal anymore, huh?
I think they still have it every year.
In Pahokee?
It's not in Pahokee, though.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's in Pahokee.
Okay.
I haven't been in so long, man. It's crazy.
Wow.
But I hear one of my friends from Belgrade. He lives in Daytona. He comes down every year to go to the Grassy Water Festival.
But let's rewind to something, right? Let's go back to that Ridgeway and East Beach, right?
Yeah.
And me and you have had this discussion before in the past. Like, why isn't Pahokee like this thriving tourism community with like? If I'm not mistaken, you guys are the only city that sits on literally you could walk on the lake from your city.
Okay. So
if I'm not mistaken.
So it is one of the only cities that is directly on the lake.
Right.
On the lake. Right. All right. One of the, if not the only. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about the history of Pahokee. And the history and the rise of Pahokee started in around 1917.
Okay.
And let me tell you the story.
Right.
Okay, so in 1917, there was a severe freeze. The temperature dropped down to about 27 degrees
Climate change.
in Miami. In 1917.
What?
Yes, in 1917.
20 in Miami?
27 degrees.
Jeez.
All right, now watch this. The surrounding area's crops were frozen. All right, so everyone who was farming outside of Pahokee, their crops were frozen.
Oh, wow.
They were destroyed.
Okay.
Pahoke's crops were not destroyed.
And that's
Pre-dike.
Wow.
Yeah. Pahoke's crops were not destroyed. And let me explain to you why Pahoke's crops were not destroyed and everybody else's crops were. Pahokee has a ridgeway that is now downtown Pahokee. That ridgeway protected our farmland from the elements during that freeze.
Wait a minute, what is a ridgeway?
It's a raising of the land. It's now where downtown Pahokee is.
I know it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So our crops were not destroyed because of the ridgeway. Right?
Okay.
So that's crazy. And it makes you wonder why they called it Ridgeway Beach.
Ridgeway Beach. Right.
All right. So now.
Right.
Okay. So the high ridge that is now downtown Pahokee protected our farmland from the elements.
Right.
Okay. The news got around about Pahoke's fields for vegetation and crops and things like that. The news got around that, oh man, the crops in Pahokee were not destroyed.
Oh boy.
All right. When the news got around, the simple economics of supply and demand for crops made the price of Pahoke's crops skyrocket. All right. It made our crops skyrocket. Farmers rushed into Pahokee because the soil could make them wealthy. Your soil is
your fortune.
Right. I know they apply that to Belglade, but it started in Pahokee.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I was always under the impression that all of the Tri-City area's land became super. I know it was already fertile before, but I was under the impression the 1920 after the 1928 storm, that's when the land really became the muck became really good because of the flooding. I figured that was the reason why. But here, what you're saying to me is that Pahokee was always a gem. As far as farmland, but it's but compared to now, it's in stark contrast. Like you barely see any farming happening in Pahokee now.
But see, there was a change, and I'm gonna get to that.
Okay. My
bad. So check this out.
Okay.
So the farmers rushed in. All right, our soil, because they knew that our soil could make them wealthy.
Right.
All right. The state of Florida and the Southern States Land and Timber Company allowed farmers to work the land without requiring purchase or rent payments.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Yes, sir. It's going to remind you of something else. The gold rush. Ooh, remember the gold rush?
Yeah, man.
Anybody could come and they would just rush. People would be all over the place just
trying to find gold. But I'm assuming this is only white farmers, though.
It just said farmers. It could have been white. It could have been black.
Okay.
I don't understand. I don't know the systematic part of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But this was big. Right,
I could imagine.
Because farmers could come without purchasing or without paying any rent, and they could farm the land and they could get wealthy. All right. Now watch this.
Yeah.
They call the soil black gold. You know that restaurant y'all got in Belgrade?
I know.
It's called Black Gold. It makes sense now.
Right.
All right.
Right.
Okay. Now, to put things into perspective, let me give you this. All right. Belglade was the largest city on the Muck in the 1930s.
Right.
Belglade had 950 residents. Pahokee had over 2,000 residents.
What?
Because so many people rushed to Pahokee to farm land to get wealth.
Wow.
Pahokee served all of the region around the lake, all the way to the coast even, served our vegetables and our crops. Pahokee served that entire area all the way to the coast.
Bro, you opening up my brain right
Serious. Pahokee.
Just Pahokee?
Yes. That's Pahokee. Remember, even though Belgrade was larger, it had 950 residents. Pahokee had over 2,000 residents.
Now, let me ask you this question. I know I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but I just gotta think about this now. So, what is roughly? Let me look this. What is the radius of Pahokee? Like, what would be considered
5 miles?
Like, so a 5-mile radius of land, north to south or east to west?
It's 5 miles. 5-mile radius.
Is Pahokee. Was feeding literally half of South Florida back then and the coast.
We're talking about Pahokee.
Jesus.
Pahokee. All right. So just like kind of like a gold rush,
right?
There was a rush to get there and to farm. And think about it, the price of crops skyrocketed because we're talking about supply and demand.
Right.
Everybody else's crops were destroyed. It made our crops more valuable.
Right.
And when people realized how important our soil was, they called it black gold.
Black gold, right.
All right. So we were called Ridgeway Beach.
Right.
Because our Ridgeway, which is now downtown,
yeah,
actually protected our crops from being damaged that year.
Right.
That year set up Pahokee to be like a real powerhouse in this region.
Yeah.
All right. So I thought that was amazing.
Right. That's
crazy.
That's some really cool information.
All right. Listen to this. At that time, Pahokee shipped produce down canals to the coast. It was one of South Florida's most important cities and the third most populous in Palm Beach County. Yes, sir.
Back in 1917.
We're talking about the early 1900s.
Early 1900s.
Now watch this. Yeah. Until Belglade was built in 1941, Pahokee High served the glades from Port Mayaka in West Martin County all the way around Lake Okeechobee and nearly to Clewiston. All right. Pahokee was the first school in Palm Beach County to be integrated as well. The first school, and I have the pictures.
Wow!
You got to see.
We're gonna post. You probably seeing the pictures now.
Now, what did all this do? All these people rushing into Pahokee. Let me tell you what it did.
Okay.
And let me tell you why Pahokee was so great back then.
Right.
All right. So, listen to this. From Christmas to April, Pahokee is a 24-hour town. Jesus. Long trains of refrigerated cars roll out for the northern markets day and night. The streets are noisy and crowded. Bars, restaurants, and gambling places are seldom closed.
Because money's being made.
Itinerant pickers, both white and Negro, known as traveling hands, swarm into this region at harvest time. As into other fruit and vegetables growing districts of the state, occupying tents, rows of tumble-down cottages, and ramshack boarding houses.
Jeez.
So Pahokee, and I have pictures of this, Pahokee was jumping. Pahokee was jumping. I got pictures of cars lined up back in the day. Pahokee was
probably seeing, so y'all can probably see these pictures popping up right now.
Like baby Vegas. Pahokee was popping up.
We're talking about early 1900s.
In the early 1900s, Pahokee was popping.
I can imagine it. But I think what's tripping me out about it is that early 1900s, you have a community that is literally busting out of the seams from farm wealth.
Yeah.
I don't even.
That's crazy.
That's wow, man.
And of course, Belglade is right there as well.
So that means,
same up.
Right, but what I'm about to say is, if you think about Belglade starts jumping after the hurricane.
Yeah.
And then you have Belglade was when you're thinking like, let's say Hurricane 1928. After that, 1930s, 1940s, Belglade was a hub, bruh, for the Black Renaissance.
Yeah.
And Belglade and Pahokee. Let's not say Belglade only.
Yeah.
Belglade, because you had people like Zora Neale Hurston popping by, Langston Hughes was coming through this spot.
Her book, Their Eyes Were Watching God, she was here when she wrote it.
Pahokee. It's about Pahokee. It's not even about...
Yeah.
It's about Pahokee.
Yeah.
Right. So think of... I just got goosebumps when I thought about that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, listen, I know there's some people from the muck, you listening to this, you're like, well, you was just talking about Pahokee. Hey, get off that. We're talking about a community. We all from the same spot. We're talking about a community, and we're trying to figure out what is it that we can do? What is it that is needed to get these communities to this level? Think about that, man.
Crazy.
You talking about 24-hour city?
It was bumping.
I've lived in a 24-hour city. I've lived in New Orleans.
Pahokee was bumping.
Jeez.
Bumping.
That's crazy, bro.
20 Pahokee was bumping.
Bars.
Yeah. Bars. Clubs. Businesses.
Dog, you say gambling, anything,
even gambling.
Anywhere there's gambling, bro, there's money. You can only gamble what you got.
Yeah.
If you poor, it's hard to really gamble. If you can gamble, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
But if you got money, I mean, could you imagine these dudes probably straight from picking?
Watch this. Even during, let's just say World War II.
Yeah, right.
Do you realize that there were internment camps right here on the muck with prisoners of war working in the fields as well? Yes. And they were given wages. Wow. I think 80 cents a day. Right here on the muck. Internment camps with wild. Prisoners of war. They were right here on our soil working. Crazy. So we talk about the history of Pahokee. Now let me get to the marina.
Okay.
Let's talk about the marina.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Which was, so we start with the soil, the farmland.
Right.
All right. Then that brings in all of the farmers.
Okay.
And now Pahokee is a booming city.
Right.
When you have people who are making money, you have businesses that follow.
Yeah.
All right.
It's obvious.
All right. So businesses, entertainment, all of these things or whatever. Yeah, we had the Prince Theater. Pahokee was rocking.
Right.
Okay.
Now, what around? Let's put a date on it. What's around what? Let's say date. Let's put like
it was rocking in the 1930s.
So you saying 1930s?
The 1930s.
We're looking at 1930s right now.
Now we in the 1930s.
Okay,
we rocking.
Bet.
So now,
you're almost like we're post World War One, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
World War II is around the corner,
pretty
much, right? We're pretty much in like a Cold War time, right? We're in Florida. We're in South Florida, right? So I'm just trying to set it up for people.
Okay.
Not drop it.
All right, so now the marina, that was another attraction.
Okay.
Remember, we would call East Beach, and then we would call Ridgeway Beach.
Right.
All right. So that was another attraction that impressed people who visited. They were very impressed by it. It's one of the few campgrounds that lies directly on Lake Okeechobee shore. Now, it had plenty of space for RVs and tents. For whatever reason, I don't know, it was called Town Park. Let me tell you what was there. Fishing. Picnic tables, for people who want to bring their families there and have picnics, playground equipment for the children. All right. It was one of the greatest. It had one of the greatest concentrations of sailboats on the lake. All right. And it was no better place. Now, when we talk about the location, there was not a better place on the lake to watch the sunset. It was like being on a beach. We actually did things, and even in my time, I can remember on the weekends and during the summertime, that was one of the spots that a lot of people, a lot of children, a lot of people used to jump off that pier.
Yeah.
And they used to swim in that little area right there.
Yeah.
They had picnic tables out there. That was the place to be. People went to the marina to have a good time.
Yeah.
Even when I was a kid, people went to the marina to have a good time.
Yeah, I remember. I used to know people do that.
This is what it used to be. It used to be that place where people can go fishing. Everything was going on up there. Picnics, fishing, sailboats, all kind of things were going on at the marina.
Yeah.
People had RVs and things like that or whatever were out there, kind of like they are today. We still kind of have RVs, but it was popping.
Popping.
Right now it's not popping.
No,
it was popping back then.
Popping. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So this is another attraction.
Yeah.
So all of these people, and this is what they did.
Yeah.
At Town Park. It was called Town Park. So that's us.